I woke up this morning and I just saw the sunrise, beautiful colors coming up over the horizon. Just felt very warm, very connecting. So our prayer for awakening, our prayer for healing is really a prayer for light. Let me see the light, let me know the light, let me experience the light, and to know that this inner call to the light, to experience the light, is from the light. This call is from the light to the light. And this call is in you, which tells you that the light is in you. But that can't just be sort of a surface level affirmation. The light is in me. That'll never do it. It needs to be known. And to know this means a willingness to see that which isn't light, that which isn't joyful, that which isn't peace, that which isn't whole in your mind. So we can spend some time here together praying to see what isn't whole so that we can know the wholeness. We can just let ourselves go within here, welcoming anything that's within our mind, knowing that we're here to use it for healing. And we can look at anything with the strength of Christ beside us and within us. And it may be that as we go within, there's a place where there's something you're not knowing what it is, not sure what it is you're experiencing or what's showing up. And just have the thought, the prayer, to let it be clear to you when and how it's most helpful for you to see. And just keeping in mind this moment is here for your awakening. Love's messengers. Love's messengers are gently sent and return with messages of love and gentleness. There's this section in the Course where Jesus talks about the messengers of love and the messengers of fear. And this sentence says, love's messengers return with messages of love and gentleness. He's telling us here that we are the ones that decide which messenger we send. And the messenger we send will bring us back what it is sent to find. Love's messengers return with messages of love and gentleness. He's not saying here that the outer circumstance dictates what kind of messages you receive. It's not from the outer circumstance. It wasn't too long ago that we watched a movie about Nazi Germany. And the situations were very intense. But it wasn't the intense situations that delivered the messages that were being received for us watching the movie. It was what messenger we sent. Another way to think of this is if you're not sure which messenger you've been sending, then see what kind of messages you're receiving. The kind of messages you've been receiving will tell you what kind of messengers you've been sending out. So again, if we look at this sentence, love's messengers are gently sent and return with messages of love and gentleness. So if you've been getting messages of love and gentleness, beautiful. You've been sending out love's messengers. If you've been getting any other kind of message, anything not loving and gentle, you've been sending out other kind of messenger. And this messenger is going to seek for that. So this is our opportunity to see and to take responsibility for what our perception is showing us. What kind of messenger do I want to send out? What kind of messenger have I been sending out? And then if you realize you've been sending out the messengers of fear, okay, that's not, the end of the world. It's just to catch that and realize that and remember, okay, how can I switch to sending out love's messengers instead? Because that's what I want. I want to have messages of love and gentleness come to me. Now, this is really like groundbreaking to see that it is not what happens to us that determines the kind of messages we receive. It's not determined by anything outside of us. And it never has determined that. So again, what do I want? What do I want to choose? What do I want to come back to me? It's the same as saying, what do I want to give? And again, it's okay if you notice you've been getting some fearful messengers coming to you. But now you have a new choice. What do you want to send now? It doesn't matter if you've been getting fearful messengers, day after day after day for months and years and years. What do you want? What do you want now? What kind of messengers are you going to send out now? We've been doing some pretty powerful lessons recently. I'm not the victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. And these lessons are very strong because they show us that we are not at the effect of the world outside of us. And it's beautiful teaching by itself. But if we leave it there, we're kind of only part way. If we just stop with intellectually knowing, I'm not a victim of the world I see, yeah, that's great. But it's just a sentence unless we actually start to practice it and start to feel it, start to know that it's true. Start to go from a place of feeling at cause to a place of causation. Are we at the effect of the world around us, or is the world really an effect of what's in our mind? So we just come back to it, come back again and again. What kind of messenger am I sending out now? Well, there's a fear thought. What kind of messenger am I sending out now? And then just keep at it, keep with it, keep practicing. The things that we give out, they're actually, we might think they're like a rock that we throw it away and then we don't have to deal with it. But it's actually much more like a boomerang. Whatever we throw out, it's going to come back. Okay, what do we want to throw then? We want to send out messengers of love and gentleness. He says, fear looks on guilt with just the same devotion that love looks on itself. So he's talking about this, how these thought systems reinforce themselves. And each has messengers which it sends forth, and which return to it with messages written in the language in which their going forth was asked. This is why it's so radical to again remember that everything is either an expression of love or a call for love. The more that we really internalize that, really experience that, the more that life becomes an opportunity to see nothing but love. We see love everywhere. And even these calls for love, yeah, they're just someone asking for kindness. And any fear thoughts you've had are just you asking for love. Do you see that in yourself? Do you see that all of your fear thoughts, all of actions coming out of worry or guilt or pain, it's just you saying, please love me. A well cared for child might have like a tantrum. They might be throwing and screaming. And what do we say? We say, it's all right. You can calm down. Nothing bad has happened. Well, we want to be just as kind to our inner tantrum, our inner child who's scared and hurt, as to that 2-year-old who's having a rough moment. Some of us were taught to push away our feelings, maybe when we were growing up. Maybe we had big feelings and we were taught, no, you can't have those. It's not okay to feel those things. And we learned, okay, I'm not supposed to be like that. I need to push this away. And so much of the healing journey is changing those ideas so that the feeling can come up. Every so often I see on Facebook like a video of a parent with a small child who's having a real fit. And then this parent is just really loving and present, just staying with them, allowing this child to have all their feelings until they get kind of moved through. Well, that's great. I mean, that's what we want to begin to do with our own inner child hurt places, to let them come up, to let them be felt while we're gently, lovingly with them. So that's one of the parts I love about this message so much is it really helps us to know what we're asking for. So again, if we seem to get experiences of fear, we seem to get experiences of judgment, guilt, upset, that we're actually on some level, some clear level, we're asking to receive those things by sending out the messengers of fear. And the reason this is so, so helpful is because it puts us back in the driver's seat. What am I wanting to choose here? Help me to switch to the mindset of love. This mindset of pain is too intense, too upsetting, too horrible. But I don't need to keep driving down this road of pain. There's another one waiting for me in every moment. This is how the road of our healing is different than the roads of the world. If you're on a road in this world, say, a highway or something, and you want to get off the road, you have to wait. You have to wait for the next exit. But the roadway of this healing journey, that alternative is always available. It's always there. You can always turn off the road of pain. You don't have to wait for some future experience. You don't have to wait for circumstances to change for you to change your mind. In fact, if you think you have to wait for circumstances to change until you find happiness, you are going to have to wait a long time. Don't do that to yourself. Don't put yourself in this sort of situation. I'll be happy when. No, 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 no. Even if you seem to get informed what you think is going to make you happy, something's going to change, and then you're going to be playing that game another time. It's a prison. Let yourself out of the prison. You want to be happy for no reason, for no earthly reason. Why are you so happy? I don't know. What happened? Nothing happened. And to be able to say that and feel that and know that, that's a gift. So every time in your mind there's a thought, oh, I'll be happy if that happens. Release it, release it, release it. Release yourself. It says perception cannot obey two masters, each asking for messages of different things in different languages. Which language do you want to speak? He says this applies to relationships. How you experience the relationship depends on which emotion was called on to send its messengers to look upon it. How you see any relationship depends on which emotion was called on to send its messengers to look upon it. And anyone who's read this section knows that fear's messengers are described pretty intensely here. This is in the Obstacles of Peace, chapter 19. And we don't want to choose fear's messengers. We want to choose love's messengers. The Holy Spirit has given you love's messengers to send instead of those you trained through fear. If you send them forth, they will see only the blameless and the beautiful, the gentle and the kind. They will be as careful to let no little act of charity, no tiny expression of forgiveness, no little breath of love escape their notice. They will return with all the happy things they found to share them lovingly with you. Theirs are the messages of safety, for they see the world as kind. I think this example of, how some people kind of navigated through Nazi Germany is helpful because it's such an extreme example. The way that people were treated and killed, awful things that happened there. We have these stories and these messages from people who even in those dreadful circumstances reacted from a place of inner peace and calm. It didn't mean they didn't have emotions, didn't mean they didn't have their own feelings to feel around what was happening. But they didn't let the outer circumstance tell them who they were. We don't have to let the outer circumstances tell us who we are. And if we have been, we don't have to keep doing that. Free yourself, free your mind. We do that every time we choose to send out love's messengers. This is actually just a very helpful frame, a very helpful way to see things. And we can use it very practically. If there's something up in our life, if we're going through some upset, some challenge, someone we don't know how we could actually see with kindness, to think about it like this. Let me send love's messengers out to look upon this situation, to look upon this person. I want to see them the way Holy Spirit sees them. I want to see this with new eyes. My way of looking has not brought me peace of mind, but I know I can experience that if I so desire, and I so desire. We can have a deep determination to use these ideas to remember our right mind. If we slip back into the fear, we can be determined again. How do we practice determination? Well, we come back, we come back, we come back again and again to knowing what we want. Doesn't mean we don't slip away. It means we come back. We focus on the coming back. If you've ever met someone who seems to be very focused, very, steady with something, it doesn't mean that they never slip away. It means they come back. So come back to your right mind, come back to the light in you, come back to remembering what you really want and what you really are. This light is always available. The exit ramp off the road of fear is always right here. It's always right here. It doesn't matter how long you've been driving on the road of pain and suffering. The exit is right here. And what is the exit? Choosing to send out love's messengers. I remember years ago when Trump was in the process of getting elected the first time. All these people around me were so upset and angry, didn't like him. And somebody I knew who was into the course was talking about Trump. And I just said, I love this guy. Because I had already been practicing seeing nothing but love in the situation, but knowing all I wanted to come from the situation was these messages of love and gentleness. Doesn't mean I agreed with his policies. It doesn't mean, I supported what he was doing in any way. But what I was really supporting was my own right mind. And we can do this with anything that is a problem in our life. Bill Thetford, he was very, fond of saying that this is a course in problem solving. What is a miracle? A miracle is a means of solving a problem. So this is a course in problem solving. What's the problem? The problem is your perception of the situation. That is always the problem. If you're not at peace, it is because you are choosing a perception that is not peaceful. But you can choose to send out love's messengers instead. Sometimes I think of looking at a person the way an angel would look at them, or Holy Spirit. How would an angel look at this person? If there's been some judgment in the mind, some fear, some anger, show me, you know, angel, show me how you see them. That's how I want to see them too. Let me remove the muck from my vision. Let me remove the scales of fear. Let them fall away from my sight. How can I see the light in my brother when I think he's done something bad? How can I know the truth of myself when I've judged myself as sinful or unworthy? Let these false perceptions fall away. Help me to see everyone and everything with this vision of love. Everyone and everything. That's how we do it. That's how we remember the truth of what we are. And that's the only way. There's no other way. Can I just wake up to heaven? Well, no, you can't wake up to heaven if you see your brother as sinful, as guilty, as having done something bad or wrong. You can't. The two things don't go together. But I just want to be peaceful, but I don't want to look at this stuff. Well, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. This is the path. We need to bring these things up into the light. We need to say, okay, Holy Spirit, help me clear my misperceptions. They have not brought me peace of mind. And that is what I want. I don't want to hold grievances. I don't want to keep feeling like someone has done something wrong to me. This is imprisonment. You're holding yourself in chains. Release these chains of fear. And the good news is, this is where it happens. You have the ability to make this choice, to choose that you want to free yourself of these false ways of seeing. That power is not in anyone else's hands. It's not waiting on anyone else's actions. Nothing in the world needs to be different for you to be able to choose this. Nothing. And the belief that something in the world needs to change for you to be able to choose this is the problem. This is the obstacle to your own peace of mind. Release this idea. It has never been the case. Never. Sometimes here we've watched the movie Joe versus the Volcano. It's a great movie about taking a leap of faith. There's this scene where he's standing in front of what looks like certain death. And what does he choose? He chooses love. He chooses love right then. He chooses that he wants to do whatever he's guided to do, no matter what it looks like. And that is the key. To go for it, to go for it with love in your heart, holding love's hand. Only a miracle would save him in this situation, and only a miracle does. Because what's really being saved is his mindset. He's saving himself from his fearful thinking by choosing love instead. You want to boil all of A Course in Miracles down? That's it. Save yourself from your fearful thinking by choosing love instead. Okay, and what do we do the next moment? Save yourself from your fearful thinking by choosing love instead. Well, what about this other problem? Save yourself from your fearful thinking by choosing love instead. Truth is difficult. The simple truth is difficult for complex minds. There's so many, pure distillations of the Course that are so simple. It's like our mind, our mind wants something more messy, something multi-layered, some big formula. So what do you do the next time you don't feel at peace? Choose that you want peace of mind by letting go of your fearful thinking. What if you try to do it, but you still seem to have fearful thinking? Well, choose the peace of mind again. And what if you do it 5, 10 times and your fearful thinking comes back? Choose for peace of mind again and again and again and again and again and again. Now, this movie, Joe versus the Volcano, is great because in the beginning of the movie, he is miserable. He has like the worst job imaginable. And it is so depressing, this environment he's in. He feels like he's sick all the time. He doesn't know what's wrong with him. But as the movie progresses, he starts to make different choices. He starts to make choices to live instead of, choose his sickness and death. And he chooses it and he chooses it and he chooses it. And what happens? His experience gets lighter and more free and more connecting and more joyful. Throughout the whole movie, he gets more and more joyful. And then what happens at the end of the movie? Some doubt thought comes in. Uh-oh, I think we have a problem here. Well, the problem is the thinking that there's something wrong. And what happens? He has a right-minded companion there with him. And she basically reminds him, you can choose to see this differently. You don't need to see it this way. Miracles have unfolded on this journey all along. Why should we think it's going to be any different now? And this is how we develop faith. We develop faith because we choose the right mind. We choose it, and we choose it more and more. And it strengthens our faith because our experiences, just like in that movie, it all unfolds. It looks crazy, some of the steps he takes, but it all is okay. So it doesn't matter if we're prompted to take a quote unquote crazy step, something that seems out of the ordinary. Well, great. Let's all let go of the ordinary. Let's let go of that ordinary heavy thinking. I don't think anyone wants that. Think of like the modern day work environment, sitting in a cubicle or whatever. Oh my gosh. Talk about ordinary. But love is here. Love is here right now. Love's messengers are at hand. You know, in this section, Jesus talks about the messengers of fear as these sort of like angry beasts. They're very vicious. But love's messengers are right here. They're like a loving, caring companion that's just ready to look for loving and kind and true. And we can all see how this happens. How many times have we walked out and we're feeling good? What happens? Oh my gosh, that sun is beautiful in the sky. Look at those clouds. They're great. Oh my gosh, these flowers, they're so pretty today. Why are we seeing all of these reflections of beauty? Because we're in a beautiful state of mind. We've probably noticed that if we go out on that very same path and we're in a dark, cloudy frame of mind, what happens? You probably don't see those things. Right? You walk right by the exact same flowers, you don't even notice them. Beautiful sun is in the sky. You might as well be on Mars as much as you're not going to see it. Your mind determines your experience. That's just a very simple example that is so clear. But it happens all the time. All the time. Our frame of mind is the lens with which we perceive the world. What kind of lens do we want to perceive the world with? You can choose the lens of love. You can always choose to see with love. We can choose that more and more. We can get very, again, determined. We can get very persistent. What do I want? I want to remember how to see lovingly. And again, of course, this includes us too. I want to know how to perceive myself lovingly. I want to perceive myself with kindness and compassion. I want to be gentle when I notice I've made a mistake and I've reacted out of fear or judgment. I want to treat myself with that same love that I want to treat others with. And I can, and I am, more and more, more and more and more. Because we want to go on the walk and see the flowers and hear the birds, look at the beautiful trees. We want to notice the beauty everywhere by experiencing the beauty in our own mind. So we just come back to the same message, the same sentence we started with. Love's messengers are gently sent and return with messages of love and gentleness. Now, this is one of those sentences from the Course. There's a lot of them, but this is one of them that we could like tattoo on ourselves. we could write it on our mirror every time we look in the mirror that we see it. Could put post-it note on our arm. I don't know. But we could have it with us all the time. And maybe you have a different one of these sentences that really just calls you to remember the truth, calls you to remember what you want. Emblazon it in yourself. It's calling to you. Sometimes when I'm in prayer or meditation, just sort of feeling this call, feeling something coming, I can sort of feel sometimes what's about to unfold. And I might even pray like, okay, Spirit, what do I do with this? And sometimes the message is just say yes. Just say yes. Say yes to what's wanting to unfold. Say yes to the opening. Say yes to remembering that you want love always. Just say yes. It's a beautiful thing to deepen into your knowing of what you want. It's a reminder. It's like a gong kind of sounding through your being, calling out to the right mind and everyone, everywhere, throughout space and time, saying, let's wake up. And then just to feel the gratitude in return. The spirit is thankful for our awakening. We can experience that as we choose to remember what we want, the gratitude of love for itself.
Good morning. Been outside, it's cold today. So how is the vibe here today? Talking about love. Beautiful.
Anyone has something they'd like to share? Started off by saying how nice it is. Some people are joining nighttime.
Yeah, it feels like a nice, symbol of the undoing of time and space that we can join, and it seems like different times on the globe, different space. How could we join over time and space unless we're one mind? Technology, seems to be doing it, but it's the mind. Nothing in form can do anything, So it's pretty powerful mind, pretty amazing. We're joining with true thoughts and higher thoughts. The power of the mind, power of the truth.
Hey, you guys.
Hey,
Right?
I'm actually doing pretty good today.
mm,
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I really appreciated everything that you had to say. It was funny. In two different instances today, I opened up the course and it just happened to fall on the same page, and it was lesson 48. There is nothing to fear. That was kind of the message that Spirit brought through today. So then, whenever I was hearing you speak, it just kind of rang that over and over again in my head of just coming back to there's nothing to fear. And then just said how as soon as you do feel that fear, it's just because you're trying to rely on your own strength instead of on the strength of spirit.
mm,
And I just want to put that prayer up to just let that cement more and more, because I can see I'm oscillating back constantly between these two interpretations of feeling like the ball's in my court and that I have the ability to not be at the effects of my environment, and then just going into a different place where I feel completely powerless, and then all of the rage and all of this heavy darkness comes up. Like, I struggle with what the doctors would call schizophrenia, but I hear these voices, I hear these tormenting voices all the time. That's kind of what started whenever I was first beginning to study the course, and the suffering of it is what has drove me back to the course, kind of as a catalyst of just looking for a solution on how to stop having these experiences of feeling like I'm being followed and tormented by these voices all the time. And so on the outside, it's an experience that seems to me like I have no completely control of. I can't grab them and shut them up. It's like I have no, it feels so completely powerless and infuriating, and anything that they can do to try to torture me or harass me or bring like some type of pain, it's like there's no, zero compassion, zero, just pure cruelty and evil. And it's like I'm just trying to use it as a catalyst to expose my own ego and realize that no, like, just see how I'm creating this for myself, and finding some way to go beyond it and move into the light.
Yeah.
And I could just see, it's like sometimes I really will feel like, oh yeah, like I'll be in the midst of all these things, and it's like I don't really have the fear anymore. I used to be afraid of them. I don't have the fear anymore in that sense of like that cowering fear, but I know if there's anger and if there's rage, and it's still a fear. It's just not as much of a direct type of like scared fear, but it's been a lot of healing, and
Mm.
it has gotten a lot better. Like, just realizing that I'm the dreamer of the dream, and just trying to get fully embrace that, like, oh, I'm the dreamer of the dream. This is my dream. I'm creating this for myself. These are all just the beliefs and the shame and the unconscious guilt that I definitely know that I have. I didn't realize that it was about God, because it's hidden through layers. I just know that I had all this deep shame and guilt that I was dealing with. So it's like, oh, okay. So I don't really know what to say, or
No, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just about, yeah, not listening to these voices.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember when I was young, I had experiences of hallucinations.
Mhm.
And I first was afraid of them. And then I realized, no, this is just stuff in the mind to overcome fear and to stay with God, no matter
Yeah.
what seems to appear or be seen there. Two really good movies come to mind. We watch this movie sometimes, and also Beautiful Mind, like, where he does come to peace. He's projected unreal characters that he sees. He just doesn't give them attention anymore in the end. But they're still walking there, still seem to see them,
Yeah, I actually just watched that movie within the past couple weeks for the first time. I actually just watched that movie.
Good, good.
Beautiful Mind, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the approach that I've been trying to have. He's like, oh yeah, they're still there. Like, I don't know how to make them go away, but I'm just not going to give them attention. I'm just trying to take that approach with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you haven't seen Words on Bathroom Walls,
oh
that's
yeah, I
yeah.
actually watched that one too. Yeah, I watched
Mm.
that one a couple months ago on the Movie Watcher's Guide to Enlightenment.
Mm.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, really good one. Yeah. And I mean, that is what it's like. It's crazy when you have these hallucinations that no one else hears, but it's just the same as if I'm hearing a voice that someone's talking. It's like they're always just right there, like beyond the veil, whether it's like the astral realm, whether it's psychic connections, because it's all with people who are living. It's not just like the way that I experience it. It's not like wispy ghosts or strange voices. It's all people in my
Yeah.
life who I'm trying to move on from.
Jenny just had to take a call.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys. And
Yeah, and I think your practice is it. It's not to listen to these voices and just to keep coming back to your right mind and know that you're not a victim of anything, not of these voices or anything else.
definitely.
Yeah, we're really glad you're here.
Good to be here. Thanks, you guys.
Hmm. Yeah, and we start to see as we keep practicing and going through this that, like you said, it isn't actually different. The things we experience in the world, Jesus literally calls them hallucinations too. So it's one hallucination or another all the time. Yeah, we've just gotten so used to a lot of these hallucinations that we think that they're not. But we're catching on to the fact that it's not our home, right? Again, like Jenny said, we've watched this movie Words on Bathroom Walls a number of times here in the community, and that's one of the messages that pretty much always comes through when we watch it, is that this hallucination experience that he's having is no different than our daily lives. It seems to be different because we think the things that we see are real and things that he sees are not real. But we're starting to see that none of it is real. And as you shared, the more that you undo the basis of these fearful images or sounds or experiences, the more that you go underneath and lift up the guilt and the fear that feeds them, the less they start to be a thing. It's because it's the guilt underneath that is the fuel that gives them their seeming power. And as that guilt is released, as that guilt is cleared by bringing it to the Holy Spirit, then it doesn't have so much fuel. What happens if you have less wood on a fire? Well, it's going to be a smaller fire. There's less fuel on the fire. There's less fuel on these hallucinations.
I don't know how much wood it's gonna have to burn through, but I definitely feel like things are burning and things are getting lighter, and I'm trusting in the process more and more. So I'm definitely grateful, very grateful for the healing that's already been taking place, and just want to put that prayer out there to stick with it and just keep on offering everything up and bring the responsibility back to my own mind and choose love. When you were speaking earlier, I just saw like the image of just like doves flowing out of my ears, like just kind of, instead of, because we always think of our eyes as like receiving and intaking, but I was listening to David speak, and he was saying how like you have to start seeing as your eyes as projectors and your ears are like stereos instead of the other way around. And so like
Yeah,
when you were speaking earlier, I was just like, all right, just picture the the messengers of love coming out, just birds flowing out, instead of worrying about what I'm intaking. So
I love it. Yeah, that's beautiful. Let all the doves of joy and peace stream out of us, stream out of our ears, stream out of our eyes, stream
yeah,
out of our mouth, stream out, just everything.
yeah.
Yeah, let love be all we give, and then it's all we get. Beautiful.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I feel still with these sort of sensations that I have in my body around fear of releasing emotion or something, and almost like a panic, like I could lose it. I could lose it in anger. And I do journal, like when it's been coming up, I've been journaling and just trying to get underneath the feelings, the pain that comes in my body, and just say like, okay, I'd rather feel the emotion. I don't need to be in pain. I'd rather feel the emotion.
Mhm.
And I get confused around anger and wanting to be loving, but at the same time knowing that there's a lot of anger that needs to be healed.
Mhm.
And not denying that, because denying it is the stopping of the healing.
I think for you, it could be a practice to specifically focus on writing the feelings out, because there's such a tendency to want to cover it over or hide it or suppress it. I think to be able to just let yourself write it out, I think feels more achievable. And maybe you even kind of give yourself a quota. I'm going to write 3 pages about my anger. And then stop when you get to the end of 3 pages, and just to kind of like let it come up and through. And then to do your best to really move on after you've done the writing about it. You come back and do it again tomorrow or whenever, to let it up, to give it space, and then just to hand all of that over to healing.
Yeah, my prayer is to see it as healing as well, not that there's something wrong. There's something
Yeah.
going wrong, because that's what comes in. Like that's what kind of stop the letting go, because something's wrong. Like,
You could imagine if someone had like clenched their fist shut for like years and years, and then they realize, I want to open my hand. It wouldn't be easy, just because they have that thought, I want to open my hand. If their fist has been shut for a decade, their muscles are going to be almost locked in that position. Like how would it be for them to open their hand? It would take focus, it would take presence, it would take a desire, it would gentle, attention, gently massaging. Over time, slowly, the hand is going to open. This is how it is with emotions. If emotions have been held for a very, very, very long time in a closed position, just because you want to feel your feelings and you know that they're there, it doesn't mean that you're going to easily go into that. But you can. And over time, and again, with patience and practice, you will. Eventually, the hand will be open. Eventually, it'll be easy to open and close. So you wouldn't judge someone, you wouldn't, be harsh with someone who was just starting to focus on unclenching their hand. You would yell at them and say, "Oh my God, open your fingers." You know, you would say, "Okay, yeah, you're doing it. It's okay. It's going to be a journey, but you can do it, and you just have to be patient and present with it, so that you can move through the tightness into the openness." I think for people who are getting in touch with their emotions, oftentimes anger, maybe anger and hatred. Anger is one of the hardest ones because it's so commonly shut down, shut off limits, or people have had bad experiences with people in their lives who have been abusive with anger. But again, now you're opening the fist for, again, gentle, loving expression of emotions so that they can move through and unwind. So I think, yeah, maybe every day you sit down and you write a few pages of, just to let this emotion up and then to let it go. This is also kind of helpful to not overly focus on it, to spend some time and then just release it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Again, maybe we can just repeat once again this sentence. This is from chapter 19, section 4, under the section called The Attraction of Guilt. Love's messengers are gently sent and return with messages of love and gentleness. So we can just practice that now, practice that always. What kind of messenger am I sending out? What kind of messenger do I want to receive? Well, have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your day. Reach out if you have anything you want to join about. And as always, we're very appreciative if you feel called to make a donation. We're happily receiving donations for these satsangs. The link is on our website, but it's also paypal.me/ACIMlove. Yeah, gratitude to everyone. All right, see you soon. Bye, everyone.